Hello, I'm Doug Doherty with Hamilton Flourishing, and we're talking today to Kim White, who is running for mayor for the city of Chattanooga in the municipal elections, which are March 2nd, that are flying towards us even as we talk. And there are 15 people running for mayor. Kim is one of the front runners, and we're so excited we could get her today to chat with us. And Kim, good morning. Glad to see you.
Good morning, Doug. Thank you for the opportunity.
Tell everybody who does not know a little bit about yourself, about your personal background, where you're from, where you went to school, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, super. Doug, I am homegrown. I grew up here in Chattanooga. I went to Hickson High School. I'm the first in my immediate family to go to college and lived at home. I worked myself through UTC. I left after school, like so many people did back in the 80s, because of lack of opportunity, and ended up in Augusta, Georgia, where I met my husband. We've been married for 32 years, and I went to work in the telecommunications industry. My career was taking off and his company was bought out. So he followed me on my career journey, and we went from Augusta to Atlanta to Birmingham to Fort Myers, Florida. We say the Southern tour. And in 2003, when they got ready to move us again, really felt that it was time to put down roots in the community and get engaged. And so Chattanooga is one of 5 cities we looked at. He's from South Carolina and had never lived here, but we came when Senator Corker was the mayor, and the 21st Century Waterfront was going on, and it was the 4th of July weekend, and it was like this magical moment, I think, in Chattanooga's history, with the energy and enthusiasm for the city, and we just felt like we were led to Chattanooga. So I came back in 2003 without a job, but with a desire to figure out how to use my voice. And I'm a very good networker, and started calling people in the city that were doing some amazing things. And people opened their doors and talked to me about what had happened in my time away. And through those connections, several people said that I needed to meet Mayor Corker, because I seemed to have such passion for the city. I cold called on Bob at City Hall and found out that he was looking for someone to run his real estate company. So that was my beginning.
Hmm.
And Chattanooga was running his organization that had 2 million square feet of real estate throughout the city. So I started getting very involved. I've served on the Erlanger board. I've done just about anything that you can do at UTC, because I really realized how important education and that it really opened my eyes and my experiences. I've been the chair of the Alumni Association. I'm the second female in history to be the chair of the UC Foundation. And then Governor Haslam appointed me to the UT Board of Trustees, which I'm still serving on. But I was on the board of River City Company in 2009. And for those that don't know, River City Company is a private nonprofit focused on downtown redevelopment. And I was encouraged to put my name in for that role as a CEO when they were doing a search, and felt like that's where all my experience led of how I really could make a difference in the city. So for the past 11 years, I served as CEO of that organization, and is so proud of the work that was done while I was there. We brought in $1.2 billion of investment downtown.
Hmm.
We created amazing partnerships that solve big issues. River City's role, we work beside city government, county government, the foundations, the nonprofits, really to solve issues. And there's no doubt that our issues in our city are bigger than River City's footprint. And I have been encouraged over the years to use my voice in a bigger way, and felt like at this critical juncture in our city, all those experiences really have led me to embark on this mayoral journey. And it's so excited about the opportunity to move our entire city forward, not just the downtown. So that's probably more information in a quick intro than you
No,
wanted.
you actually answered my question, next two questions, but I do want to emphasize something that you mentioned. Uh, one of the jobs of the mayor of the city is he's the chief recruitment officer for businesses and to come to Chattanooga and for businesses to start and things like that. Uh, and nobody except you, I don't think, has any influence or any experience in bringing jobs to Chattanooga.
Doug, you're exactly right. I think that is one of the things that sets me apart. I've put together deals, I've negotiated contracts, anyone that knows my work at UTC, I'm the biggest advocate and cheerleader there, and I definitely was for downtown. But I think you're right. The role of mayor, I mean, it is the voice of the city, and I think we've taken our eye off the ball with recruiting jobs. We've really rested on our laurels with Amazon and some others, but man, we are at a prime spot to create and help people start small and medium-sized businesses, to actually go out and look at Nashville and Atlanta, how we can actually bring more opportunity throughout the city. And I know I'm good at that, and I'm a good closer, and I look forward to the opportunity of doing that for our city.
Let me ask you a kind of a philosophical question. Um, you've been in Chattanooga now. You were born here, you're away, you're back. You've had a bird's eye view of what's going on in the community, the city. Um, tell me this, these are two questions. They go together, but they're two questions. The first one is, tell me what you think about Chattanooga. What's the truth about the city? I hear that we're a divided city, or that we're a city that's outgrown itself, or we've gotten ahead of ourselves. And then the second question is, tell me what you think is the right direction for Chattanooga. So, but let's start with the first question. What do you think is the truth about Chattanooga?
Well, I think Chattanooga is a city where anyone can make their way. I think part of the issue is that we really haven't enlarged the table to make sure we're out listening, which is part of what my campaign has been about. How we go to neighborhoods and make sure those voices are at the table. I've seen the Chattanooga way at work. I saw it at work and how we work downtown. I believe that we can do the same thing in neighborhoods. So when I've been out there, I hear people need to see hope and opportunity. That's with job creation. People want to know that their voice matters, and that's really actually getting things done in the neighborhoods. I think that we can have a real divisive narrative, and some people have that. I don't believe that. I believe it's that we need to not just listen, but we need to show action. And I'm prepared to actually go out and do that. So I don't believe that. I mean, I'm someone that moved here again without a job, and I've never been a member of a country club. I've never been politically connected, and through grit, hard work, rolling up my sleeves, and getting involved, found a path. I want to make sure others in other parts of the community have that same experience in Chattanooga. I also believe we are at a crossroads of a great time in Chattanooga, coming out of COVID, where people can live anywhere and they're looking more for quality of life. The fact that for the past 35 years, we've focused on building a great city with a great quality of life, sets us up great for growth. But we've got to make sure that we plan. We don't want to be Nashville or Atlanta. We've got to invest in infrastructure. We got to make sure we're prepared for that growth. But I am so bullish on this city and its potential and its future.
That's great to hear, Kim. Tell me this. You've answered the second question with enthusiasm with answering the first one. But what would be your top three issues as you're going into, if you win over the next 4 years, what do you see as the top three?
Sure. So the first one is job creation and growth, and is how we not only recruit and bring more here, but how do we support what's already here? Small and medium-sized businesses are the backbone of our city, and they felt left out before COVID. Right now, they need more resources. So I will have an Office of Small Business Support to help bring those resources out to the community. We want people to grow their own. I mean, we want people that are part of this and invested in this city to have the opportunity to actually do that. So job growth is number one. That's how we create opportunity for everybody. It's hard to put them in order, but another big one is infrastructure, because we are set up to grow, and we've got to grow smart. And we have kicked the can on doing things like paving roads and looking at stormwater with an overall plan and strategy. So we've got to, right now, the quality of our roads don't reflect the quality of our city. And it is putting more of an emphasis on how we take care of the basics. The third is public safety. And I came out early on. I'm a strong supporter of Chief Roddy. I've met with neighborhoods throughout this city. I've never heard anyone say they want less police, they want more, but they would like to have first responders that look like their neighborhood. They would like to have first responders that are more of the part of the community. And in order to do that, we need to pay them better. And we need to give them more resources so they can have more people to get out of the cars and become engaged in the community. Mm-hmm. So really working with Chief Roddy and the community on some of these tough conversations, how we continue to have a community of trust, is really, really important. So that would be three. But I would say, Doug, the thing that undergirds all of it is we've got to have a city that's easy to do business with. And so as we look at those three priorities, really reorganizing and realigning city government is going to be a cornerstone of how we get things done. We have so many roadblocks and so many silos. I have a lot of developers that say they're ready to do projects, but they've been developing in Ottawa and in East Ridge and in Red Bank because we're too hard to do business with. I've had small and medium-sized businesses say they would love to grow their business, but it's too complicated. So we have priorities, but we also need to realign city services, and I'm prepared to do that.
Good. I like that. With all this change, do you see any kind of increase in income, not income tax, but in tax revenues? I mean, you see a tax?
No, I don't. I think we have a lot of low-hanging fruit. I mean, I look at how we actually grow our tax base, but how we actually increase investment. And that's the piece I am really excited about. There are so many parcels that the city owns that are not on the tax rolls. There's a lot the county owns not on the tax rolls. I look forward to actually sitting down and figuring out one of the things in my policy on affordable housing is we have 500 parcels in neighborhoods that are back tax or derelict properties that we really could leverage to do affordable housing. Let's get that back on the tax rolls. We also have some large commercial parcels. And then we have a lot of land too. So I think it is how do we actually increase investment, not increase taxes.
Good answer. Let me ask you this question, a little bit changing gears. Do you see a role for churches, synagogues, mosques, temples, and local government programs where they're partners in? There's so many challenges for different neighborhoods in the community that seem to need a delicate touch, a personal touch, a relational touch. And government's not always the best person to do that, but that needs to be done. Do you see a role, a partnering, collaborating role with the faith community?
Doug, I really do. I mean, faith is an important part of who I am as a person. I look back at my experiences with Sunday school and churches. I mean, that was just part of really my growth as a person. The part that I've seen missing in city government is partnerships of all kinds. And I have been out meeting with a lot of pastors and faith-based community. There's some great work being done, but it's being done in isolation, or maybe they've created their own coalition. I want to, again, the enlarged table looks at nonprofits, the faith-based community, how we all work together, because there is some great work going on. And churches have a different type of relationship the city government has. They understand the community where they are and what those needs are. So when you look at how you get your finger on the pulse about what the real issues are, that is a great way for us to engage and to really try to understand what role city government can play. Sometimes city government just needs to get out of the way. Sometimes it is actually empowering, lifting up some of the great work that's already going on, and churches are a piece of that.
Great. Two specific questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Kim, how do you approach the problem of all the shootings, the weekend shootings? They're mostly young men, drive-by, random shootings. It concerns a lot of people. People are afraid to sit on the front porch. Shootings into houses. The mayor has had in the past has had a task force. It didn't seem to make much difference. It doesn't seem to be a policing problem. I mean, a policeman can't really get there in time to get between the bullet and a random shooter. I mean, but yet it concerns a lot of people. But we don't talk about it much. But we're a pretty violent city in those areas. What do you think? What would you do as the mayor?
So I think it is really how do you get the communities engaged, and they want to be engaged. There's pockets in every single community that want to play a role there. We've got to start earlier with things like, we have 16 youth and family development centers throughout our city, and it is programming and it's exposure to first responders early on. It's actually having them be part of the community. So it's some of it is policing, but some of it is actually being in the community, giving people hope and things to do. There are so many great opportunities with industry throughout our city with apprenticeships and way to give some of these kids exposure to a career path. So I think the city can play a role with that, is how we bring more of the business community involved in neighborhood work. So I think it is, how do we actually start creating some coalitions, showing people there is hope and there's other avenues. So youth and family development centers and relationships with the business community, more community type policing, but I think jobs, quite honestly, Doug, do a lot of that. If you have job opportunities and people see a path for themselves to grow, there's less likely, that means some of this bad behavior will go on, but it has been a problem.
Last question. What do you think about all the conversation about the need for affordable housing in the city?
So yes, Chattanooga is no different than a lot of cities that we do have an affordable housing gap. So I have a very specific policy about how we can make a dent in that. I think my background with real estate and development, working beside city government and seeing missed opportunities, we put together a plan that we believe we can bring 700 units of affordable housing during my first term. And there's some specific ways we would do that. First, we would take those parcels I talked about, 500 parcels throughout the neighborhoods that are back tax, derelict properties, clean them up, clean up title. We would leverage those and work with organizations like Chattanooga Neighborhood Enterprise or churches or Habitat for Humanity or some nonprofits to actually make sure that we get an affordability component. The second is we would do an affordable housing fund, and we would seed that with $2 million and then go out to the community and try to get matching funds. I have a great history of raising money in this community. I've done it for projects for downtown, and I think we would get a lot of partners behind us with affordable housing. And then we need to look at our codes and some of the rules and regs. Right now, we make it very difficult to have things like garage apartments or maybe accessory dwellings or smaller homes. So we need to look at all of that. And I think we can fill that gap. I do think we will also get some money from the federal government. So we want to be set up to leverage any of those funds that come down, and actually, how do we actually invest in affordable housing? But right now the city's trying to do it on its own. And then we have C&E doing it on its own. We need to bring all the partners together to work on this issue. But I think 700 units in my first term, and that's with no additional funding from the federal government. That's exciting to me.
Yeah, that'd be a big impact.
Yes.
That's all for me. Any last words, Kim?
No, I mean, Doug, I'm really enthused about our city and where we are. Yes, we have issues, but we have people that want to work together to make it better. I think I am uniquely positioned with my business background. I mean, I have met a payroll. I have built teams. I've been on the nonprofit side and worked in that arena and understand the great work that's going on in our community. I've worked beside city government for 11 years, and I understand what's broken and what's working. And all that layered together, there's not another candidate out there that has this type of experience. And the fact I've recruited business and industry. I look forward to the opportunity of being mayor, of really bringing our community together. And I would just encourage people to go vote. Early voting starts tomorrow, February 10th to the 25th, and then it's March 2nd. There are a lot of people on the ballot, but there's only one of me. So appreciate the vote for Kim White.
Well, thanks, Kim. And like Kim said, the election is March 2nd. Early voting begins February the 10th and ends on February the 25th. So we encourage you to vote. We do not want this to be a low turnout election. We want lots of people to come out and vote. And if there's a runoff, the way Chattanooga elections are, the top two people, if they don't win 50% plus one, go into a runoff that'll be in April sometime. And so that could be a whole nother story. But Kim, we wish you much success. You're an exciting candidate. We're excited to have you in the race, and we wish you well. So
Doug, thank you. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.